I remember the night I first told Lena, we're going to make this work, no matter what. She smiled, that quiet, confident smile that made me believe we could conquer anything. We already are, she said, leaning back in my cramped office chair. Look at how far we've come. I laughed, but it felt hollow. We've come a long way, yeah. But the bank account says otherwise. She shrugged. We'll manage. You always find a way. That was Lena, always calm, always persuasive. I trusted her more than anyone. More than my own instincts. More than my childhood friend Marcus, who had invested silently but always watched from the sidelines. Silent investor, huh? I teased him once over drinks. I prefer watching from the shadows, he'd replied, smirking. Less drama, more control. Eva, my assistant, was quieter. She never said much, but I could tell she noticed things, the little discrepancies, the tension I tried to ignore. You okay? She asked one night as I stared at my laptop. I'm fine, I lied. Just tired. You've been saying that for 6 months, she said softly. I know, I admitted. I trust her. I trust us. It was true. I had given Lena access to everything, contracts, accounts, strategy meetings. I thought loyalty was a strength. I thought love and trust were unbreakable. During late nights in the office, we'd talk strategy while sharing cheap takeout. If we pull this off, Lena whispered one night, we'll never have to worry about money again. I nodded, thinking about our little apartment we shared, the worn couch, the stack of papers I swore I'd sort someday. I can't imagine it any other way. She touched my arm lightly. We'll be unstoppable. And I believed her. Board meetings used to be our stage. Lena would present ideas with that effortless charm that made investors lean forward, nodding along. I'd sit beside her, smiling proudly, feeling the warmth of our teamwork. Marcus says he's impressed, I whispered one afternoon. She glanced at him. Does he? Her tone was light, teasing, but her eyes didn't meet mine. I shrugged it off. Probably. You know him. Hard to impress. Maybe, she said, still avoiding my gaze. It was the first moment I remember feeling that subtle edge, the smallest hint of distance. But I ignored it. I told myself she was tired. I told myself it didn't matter. Even Eva noticed. One day, she paused in the doorway, eyebrows raised. He seems different today, she murmured. Who? I asked. Lena, she said simply. You notice it too, don't you? I shook my head. I think I'm just imagining things. But I wasn't. I tried to push it away during another board meeting. I smiled as Lena spoke confidently, laying out projections and strategy. Her words were smooth, her gestures perfect, but she never looked at me once. My stomach twisted, an uncomfortable awareness I couldn't shake. Do you think she's mad? I whispered under my breath to no one. Marcus chuckled. Maybe she's thinking about the next deal. I nodded, forcing a smile. Yeah. Probably. And just like that, I ignored the warning signs. I wanted to believe everything was fine. I wanted to believe that the woman I trusted most, the woman I loved, the woman I had built this life with, was still standing beside me. I didn't see it yet, but something was shifting. Something I would regret ignoring. I walked into the boardroom expecting the usual. Coffee cups, tired smiles, nodding along. But something was off. Lena's posture was too rigid, her smile too practiced. Good morning, I said, sliding into my chair. "Morning," she replied, without looking at me. Marcus gave me a polite nod. "Ready for the presentation?" I glanced at him, sensing the tension. "Yeah, of course." Lena started speaking, flipping through papers I didn't recognize. "As you all know, we've had tremendous growth." And now, her eyes never met mine. "I propose new leadership for the company." I frowned. "New leadership?" "Yes," she said smoothly. "Effective immediately, I will assume full control of all operations. I've signed legal documents with our lawyers to formalize this change." My throat went dry. "Wait, you what?" "Everything is ready," she said. Her calm tone made it worse. "Contracts, approvals, it's all binding." I glanced at Marcus. His face was pale. "Marcus, you knew about this?" I didn't know it would happen today," he muttered, avoiding my gaze. I felt my hands shake. You let her do this? All of this, behind my back?" "She's just taking what she earned," Victor, a lawyer I hadn't met before, said smoothly. "Mr. Daniels, your authority has been legally removed." I slammed my fist on the table. "This is insane. I built this company. You can't just—" Lena cut me off, still calm. "I can. And I have. You're replaceable, remember? I've told you before." I felt the blood drain from my face. "You said that, what?" "Exactly what it sounds like," she said, leaning back. "You were never indispensable. You were a placeholder." Marcus cleared his throat, finally speaking. I thought you'd see the bigger picture. Maybe this is for the best." "For the best?" I shouted. "For who? For you? For her?" My voice cracked. "For everyone except me?" Eva's voice came softly from the doorway. "Maybe we should step outside for a second?" I ignored her, focusing on Lena. "How could you? After everything? The late nights, the sacrifices? I trusted you." She shrugged, still staring at her notes. "Trust doesn't win in business, not really. Vision does. And I have the vision." I felt dizzy. "Vision? Is that what you call this betrayal?" Victor leaned forward. "Mr. Daniels, the board has already ratified the changes. There's nothing left to discuss." I grabbed the nearest chair. "Nothing left to discuss? Do you realize what you've done?" Lena's smile was cold now. "I do. And I'm confident it was the right choice." I couldn't move. I watched her, trying to understand how the person I loved, the person I trusted, could turn into this strategist of my ruin. "You think this ends here?" I whispered, voice shaking. She finally glanced at me. "I think it ends exactly where it should. You had your chance." Marcus avoided my eyes completely. Eva lingered in the doorway, silent. I felt my stomach drop. Why didn't anyone stop her?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Victor's lips curled in a polite, practiced smile. "Business isn't personal, Mr. Daniels. Sometimes sacrifices are necessary." I shook my head, unable to process. "Sacrifices? I trusted all of you. All of you." Lena's eyes finally met mine for a split second. Cold. Calculated. "You were naive. That's the problem." I stumbled out of the boardroom, my hands trembling. The company I built from nothing, the company I bled for, the company I trusted her with, was gone. And she had just told me I was replaceable. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the ceiling like it held answers. My phone buzzed non-stop, but I didn't move. Daniels? You coming in? Marcus' voice cracked through the line. I'm not coming, I said, voice hollow. Look, we can fix this. You just have to. Fix it? I laughed bitterly. You mean let her take everything while I watch? No, Marcus. There's nothing to fix. It's over. Silence on the line, then a sigh. I didn't think it would go this far. Of course you didn't, I muttered, hanging up. Eva appeared in the doorway, holding a folder. You should see this, she said softly. I shook my head. I don't want to see anything. Nothing will change anything. Maybe not. But it proves something's wrong. I looked at her, irritated. Wrong? It's obvious what's wrong. Lena betrayed me. You saw it. I know, she said. But there are details. Small things she missed. Loopholes, maybe. I snorted. You sound like a lawyer. I'm not. But I see patterns, she replied. You should at least look. I didn't. I just stared at the wall. Nights blurred together. Empty bottles, cold takeout, and silence. I replayed the moment Lena said, "You're replaceable." I wanted to scream, to break something, but the energy had left me. I felt like a ghost in my own life. The next day, Marcus showed up. Daniels, we need to talk. I refused. Not interested. You watched it happen. Why are you here? I feel responsible. We could still try. Try what? I snapped. To stop her? To beg her for scraps? No. It's done. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. I didn't think she'd. She did. I know. My voice trembled. You're not a friend, Marcus. Not really. He flinched. I thought I was helping. You helped her, Marcus. That's what matters. That's all that matters. Eva stayed silent but gave me a small, encouraging nod. She was the only one still on my side. Weeks passed. I avoided everyone, avoided the news, avoided thinking. But my mind wouldn't stop. Every memory of Lena, every late-night strategy session, every shared laugh, it now felt like a lie. Finally, I called Daniel, the consultant who'd helped me register the company years ago. Daniel. I need help. I've been expecting that, he said. Calm. Firm. Reliable. You're not as helpless as you think. I rubbed my face. It feels impossible. Nothing's impossible. You just need perspective. And patience. Patience. I laughed bitterly. I don't have patience. I have betrayal and ruin. And that's why you'll succeed. Because you've hit rock bottom, Daniels. You feel it, you hear it, you live it. That sound, it's a warning. A signal. You rebuild from here. I swallowed hard, staring at the floor. Rebuild, okay. But, where do I even start? Daniel didn't answer immediately. Look at what she missed. The details she overlooked. There's always a crack. You'll find it. And when you do, the game changes. I sank into the chair, exhausted. I want it to end. I want closure. It will end, he said. Just don't rush. You'll see the pieces fall into place. I hung up, feeling both lost and slightly alive. For the first time in weeks, a plan formed, not revenge, not yet, but a possibility. Eva peeked in. You okay? I think so, I said. Not fine, but maybe okay. And for the first time since the betrayal, I believed I might survive this. I met Daniel at a small cafe, the kind with chipped mugs and bitter coffee. You said there's a way, I said, my hands gripping the cup too tightly. There's always a way, he replied calmly, sliding a folder toward me. But it's not easy. And it requires patience. I frowned. Patience? I'm done waiting. I want results. You're not ready for results yet. You need leverage first. I leaned back, skeptical. Leverage? Against her? Yes. Against Lena. He opened the folder. Do you remember the original company registration documents? The ones from the first year? I nodded. I do. What about them? Hidden within the clauses, one of them ties the core intellectual property to you personally, not the company. She may control the shell, but you control the foundation. I blinked. Wait, are you saying I can? Yes, he interrupted. You can take back the essence of the company without touching her directly. Legally. Quietly. I ran a hand through my hair. That's insane. But brilliant. Daniel smiled. You're smart enough to see it. But there's a moral question here. What do you do once you have the power? I stared into my coffee. I don't want to ruin her. I want what's mine. What I built. You'll have to decide if it's revenge or restoration, he said. There's a difference. I nodded slowly. Restoration. That's what I want. Not revenge. Eva appeared at the cafe doorway, cautious as always. Daniel, he's telling you about the clause, she asked softly. Yes. But it's more than that. It's the choice that matters, I said. She nodded, sliding into the booth. I'll help you. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. I felt a small surge of relief. I need that. I can't do this alone. Daniel leaned back. Good. And you won't. But you must act strategically. One wrong move, and she could trap you in legal nightmares. I laughed bitterly. After everything she's done? She still terrifies me. She won't. Not if you stay careful. And decisive, Daniel said. I closed my eyes, thinking. Lena had been so sure she'd won. So confident in her betrayal. But she had overlooked something, the foundation. And now, I had a choice. I could destroy her completely, or I could reclaim what was mine, quietly, and let the consequences fall naturally. Eva broke the silence. You're not angry? I looked at her. Angry? Of course I am. Furious. But I've realized something. Anger doesn't help me. Planning does. Strategy does. Walking away, carefully, and reclaiming control does more than screaming ever could. Daniel nodded approvingly. Exactly. This isn't about punishing her. It's about reclaiming your life. I swallowed hard. And Marcus? Marcus? Daniel asked. I can't forgive him. Not yet. He stood by while she destroyed me. He'll have his own reckoning, Daniel said. Eva put a hand on mine. Then focus on what you can control. That's all that matters right now. I stared at the folder again, the legal documents that felt like a lifeline. Okay, I said. I'll do it. I'll walk away publicly. And quietly, I'll take the foundation with me. Daniel leaned back, satisfied. Good. That's the first step. The rest will follow naturally. I felt a strange calm settle over me. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt in control again. The company, Lena, Marcus, none of them could touch what I was about to do. I glanced at Eva. You ready? She nodded, firm. Always. I exhaled, a mix of tension and resolve. Then we begin. The choice was mine. And for the first time, it didn't feel impossible. I walked into the office that day with a calm I hadn't felt in months. Lena was already there, flanked by Victor, her smug lawyer. Daniels, she said, smiling as if nothing had happened. You look rested. I nodded, smiling faintly. Thanks. I figured it was time to say goodbye. She tilted her head. Goodbye? I don't follow. I resigned, I said, voice steady. Effective immediately. Lena laughed softly, eyes cold. And just like that, you walk away? Yes, I said. Walk away. And take the foundation with me. Her smile faltered for a fraction of a second. What are you talking about? I have the rights to the core IP, I said quietly. The part of the company you can't touch. That's mine. Victor cleared his throat. Mr. Daniels, you're exaggerating. You don't control anything. I leaned forward. Actually, Victor, I do. And you'll see it soon enough. Lena's confident posture wavered slightly. You wouldn't dare. I shrugged. I already did. I just waited for the right moment. Eva stepped beside me. I've helped him, Lena. And the process is complete. Her eyes widened, and for the first time, I saw fear flicker there. This isn't possible, she whispered. Oh, it is, I said calmly. It's very possible. Days passed quietly. No dramatic announcements, no confrontation. Yet systems started failing, deadlines slipped, emails bounced. Lena called me repeatedly, panic rising in her voice each time. Daniels. The accounts, clients are leaving. What's happening? Funny, I replied over the phone. I wonder what you missed. This isn't funny, she shouted. It's just business, I said. You thought you could replace me. Turns out, you were wrong. Marcus tried to reach me too. Daniels, listen, maybe we can. Save your breath, I said. You had your chance to act. You didn't. That's on you. Even Victor started making mistakes, filing paperwork incorrectly, missing deadlines. The cracks I had predicted were spreading quietly, inexorably. One evening, Lena finally called, voice trembling. Daniels, please. Let's talk. I'll fix this. Just tell me how. I paused, savoring the moment. Lena. I'm not here to fix you. Or the company. I'm here to move on. But. No buts, I said. You made your choices. I made mine. Eva peeked into my office, smiling faintly. It's working. Slowly, but it is. I nodded. Patience. That's all it took. The following week, I watched the board meetings from a distance. Investors were anxious. Employees whispered about resignations. Lena's confidence, once unshakable, was cracking. "She's scared," Eva said softly. "Yes," I said, voice calm. "And she should be." Marcus approached me one night, hesitant. "Daniels, maybe I misjudged things. Can we talk?" "I don't think so," I replied. "You already know your place in this story." He swallowed hard. I just didn't want to lose you completely." "You lost me the moment you chose her over me," I said quietly. Eva placed a hand on my shoulder. "Focus on what's next. Don't look back." I nodded. "I won't. The important part is done. Lena's life will unravel quietly, and I'll rebuild quietly. That's the difference." Later, as I stared at the city lights from my apartment, I realized I hadn't felt this calm in months. No screaming, no fights. Just quiet. The slow, inevitable karma working its way through every mistake Lena had made. I smiled faintly. Sometimes, the quietest victories are the sweetest. I agreed to meet Lena at a quiet cafe, away from the office chaos. She arrived first, tapping her fingers nervously on the table. "You called," she said, trying to sound casual. "I wasn't sure you would." "I wanted to see you," I replied calmly. "To talk. Nothing more." Lena's smile was forced. "Talk? About what? The company? A situation?" "Everything," I said, leaning back. "I want to understand. How did we get here?" Her eyes darted away. I did what I had to do. You know that." "I know you think that," I said quietly. "But you never considered what it would do to me. To everyone else." Lena shook her head. "I had vision, Daniels. You held me back." I laughed softly, disbelief in my voice. "Held you back? I trusted you. I gave you everything. And you used it to push me out." Her jaw tightened. I thought you were replaceable. I thought I could handle it all." "And now?" I asked, eyes narrowing. "Now I see mistakes," she admitted, her voice shaking slightly. "I didn't see how fragile the system was." "I didn't." "You didn't what?" I pressed. "I want honesty, Lena. No excuses." I didn't think you'd actually walk away," she whispered. "I thought you'd beg. I thought you'd fight me publicly. But you didn't. You left. And somehow, you still took the company with you." I let that sink in. For the first time, I saw her fear. Genuine fear. Not the calm, confident woman who betrayed me. Fear. "You finally see it," I said softly. "All those warnings you ignored. All those tiny cracks you overlooked, they're your undoing." Her hands trembled as she gripped her coffee cup. You don't hate me?" "I did," I said. "I do, sometimes. But hate isn't useful. Watching you scramble quietly? That's enough." She looked at me, desperation in her eyes. "Daniels, can we fix this? I'll step down. I'll give you control again." "No," I said firmly. "I'm not taking the company back. That's not what this was about. I wanted it safe, not under me. I wanted it to belong to the people who still trusted it and trusted me." Her lips quivered. "And the IP rights, you've taken them?" "Yes," I said. "Legally. Quietly. And there's nothing you can do to reverse it. Victor had been lurking nearby, but I ignored him. This was between Lena and me. "Do you forgive me?" she asked, almost pleading. I shook my head. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It doesn't undo the betrayal. You'll live with your choices, Lena. That's enough for me. Tears welled up in her eyes. I underestimated you. I thought I could manipulate everything. And you were wrong, I said, calm but firm. Completely wrong. And now, you're learning the consequences. Slowly. Quietly. Exactly how it should be. She looked down, shaking. I'm scared, Daniels. I don't know how to fix this. You can't, I said softly. And that's the point. You'll survive, but it won't be the same. You wanted control. You got it, temporarily. Now you'll watch as everything slips away. I stood up, letting the words settle. This is your reality, Lena. Not mine anymore. She didn't argue. She didn't beg. She just looked at me, terrified, realizing that the woman I trusted, the woman who thought she could replace me, was powerless. Eva appeared at the cafe doorway, discreet but supportive. She caught my eye and nodded. I glanced back at Lena one last time. Goodbye, Lena. Daniels, she whispered, voice breaking. I walked away, calm, collected. For the first time, I felt the weight lift. Not triumph, not revenge, just control, and the quiet satisfaction of justice done. I watched from a distance as the company began to crumble. Emails bounced, deals fell through, employees whispered, and one by one, key staff resigned. I got a call from Marcus. Daniels, it's worse than I thought. She's losing control. I leaned back, calm. I see. And you? I don't know what to do. Investors are panicking. You did nothing when it mattered, I said quietly. Now watch her handle the consequences alone. Marcus swallowed. I guess I deserve this too. You do, I said simply. And you'll learn from it, I hope. Eva appeared beside me, laptop in hand. The board's calling emergency meetings. They're blaming Lena for every failure. I nodded. Good. Let them see reality. Later, I got a call from Lena herself. Her voice trembled, thin and brittle. Daniels, you don't understand. It's falling apart. The investors, the clients, it's all my fault. I do understand, I said. And it's exactly what should happen. You wanted control. Now you have it, and now you're paying the price. Tears in her voice. I didn't think it would come to this. I shook my head. You never considered anyone else. Only yourself. And now the consequences are real. Victor called next. His usual arrogance was gone. Daniels. I made mistakes. I can fix them. Let me help. No, I said firmly. Fix it? You can't. You had your chance to act ethically. You didn't. You let her do this. Now you're responsible for the outcome. Even Marcus sent a message later, hesitant. I misjudged you. I thought she was the right choice. You misjudged loyalty, I replied. Nothing more. Remember that. By the end of the week, Lena's confidence had completely shattered. She was pale, frantic, and constantly on her phone trying to fix what couldn't be fixed. I overheard fragments of conversations when employees called her, questioning her every decision. She's panicking, Eva whispered. This is worse than I imagined. I nodded slowly. Good. Let it unfold naturally. No interference. Just patience. Lena finally sent me a text, please. I'll make amends. Can we talk? I stared at it for a moment, then typed back a single line, it's too late. The quiet was satisfying. Not the chaos of screaming or public humiliation, but the slow, inevitable unraveling. That was the most powerful, watching consequences arrive without me lifting a finger. I caught a glimpse of Marcus in the office corridor, shoulders slumped. He avoided my gaze. I didn't expect this, he said softly. No, I replied. You didn't. That's why you lost. Later that evening, I sat at my desk with Eva. You've been amazing, I said. She smiled faintly. I just knew it wasn't over until you had control back. Control, yes. Revenge, no. There's a difference, I said, leaning back. I don't want to ruin her completely, just let reality handle her. She's learning, Eva said. Yes, I murmured. And I'm finally free from the anger. Watching it fall apart slowly, that's enough. I looked out the window at the city lights. The company I had built, the betrayal I had endured, the people who had underestimated me, they were all facing the consequences of their choices. And I was standing at the edge, calm, stronger than before, watching the quiet justice take its course. Sometimes, I thought, the fall is more powerful when everyone pretends not to see it coming. I stood in my new office, sunlight spilling across the empty desks. It was small, humble, nothing like the company I had lost. But it felt mine. Eva smiled, handing me a fresh cup of coffee. Feels good, doesn't it? I took it, nodding slowly. It does. Quiet. Calm. No fear. Not everyone believed in you, she said. But I did. I chuckled softly. You always did. Even when I was too blind to see it myself. She raised an eyebrow. So, no thoughts of revenge anymore? I shook my head. No. Watching Lena scramble quietly was enough. Revenge isn't satisfying. Walking away, taking control of what mattered, that's enough. Eva nodded. I knew you'd figure it out. That's why I stayed. I looked around. I lost everything I built, or so I thought. But I gained something more. Freedom. Perspective. The people who actually care about me, not the company name or power. My phone buzzed. A message from Lena, I'm sorry. Can we talk? I stared at it for a moment, then deleted it. No reply? Eva asked. No reply, I said firmly. Not out of anger, but peace. That chapter is closed. Marcus texted too, I never realized. I was wrong. I didn't respond. Some lessons are meant to be learned quietly. Later, I called Sarah, a former client who had followed me quietly after the company split. You're ready? I asked. Yes, she said. I trust you. Let's start fresh. I smiled. Fresh. I like that. Over the next few weeks, we built the new venture, small but stable. No flashy headlines, no overblown promises. Just careful, deliberate work. One afternoon, Eva leaned back, watching the team collaborate. You look happy. I admitted. Not because I won over anyone, not because I beat Lena. But because I control my own life again. That's the real victory. Eva smiled. I knew you'd get there. I paused, thinking about the past, the betrayal, the late nights, the heartbreak. It was painful, I said quietly. More than I thought I could endure. But it taught me something crucial: loyalty, patience, and clarity are more powerful than anger. She nodded. And you proved it. Quietly, strategically. Yes, I said. And I won't forget that. Not just for myself, but for anyone who ever underestimated me. A soft knock interrupted my thoughts. Daniel stood in the doorway. Checking in, he asked. I laughed softly. Checking in. I think I'm finally okay. Better than okay. Ready to build something meaningful without the weight of the past hanging over me. Daniel smiled, satisfied. That's what I wanted to hear. You've learned, grown, and reclaimed control, not through rage, but through patience and strategy. That's rare. I nodded, feeling a sense of closure I hadn't expected. The company, Lena, Marcus, they all had their consequences. I didn't need to interfere. I didn't need to seek revenge. I had walked away with everything that truly mattered: my dignity, my vision, and my freedom. Eva nudged me lightly. Ready for the next step? I smiled, looking out the window at the city beyond. Always. For the first time in months, I felt whole again. Stronger, calmer, and in control. The past was behind me. The future was mine. And I would never be replaceable.